Totality 30. This moment, for areas of blue sky around. Absolutely, we will be seeing the sun. This eclipse. It's going to be hopefully 4 minutes. To make sure that first with out from right now, we see that attack should be 1 minute at this moment. And it may Blue Hills Ranch. I think we're only bison just right behind. Eclipse has begun. Eclipse. Something that many people will realize. So really we can get that would include this view. Interesting.
The whole time, so you'll be able to. We'll try to keep
That's
it.
fantastic. Thank you.
So we're working right now looking at the sun. If you look to the upper right corner of the sun's disk, you can see that the moon is starting to move into, are not lucky enough to have this exact ratio. They have moons, they do have eclipses, but they don't get to see an exact eclipse like. Sure. We've got some people here that are viewing different types of methods that you can look at the sun. We have colors with solar filters on them. We have a pair of binoculars that are projecting onto a screen so that you can see that. We have regular eclipse glasses, the kind that you'd pick at the store. We have welder's goggles, number 14 arc welding goggles that allow you to get a neat view. And of course, we have these amazing cameras that C&J Images use to track when they launch at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station or at the Kennedy Space Center. So if you've ever watched on television rocket launches, you probably have seen them through some of these lenses before. They have tracking technology that allows them to track very precisely as they look at the sun, or to track a rocket as it comes up on the launch pad. You can of the clouds. Just checking. Rocket launches that you probably know that SpaceX has. The Falcon 9, the engine's at full throttle. The biggest engine, of course, is the Raptor right now that will be used for the Starship. Everybody here is really enjoying the view. This is you know, we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to see the sun at all today, and we are getting some nice blue sky coming and going in clouds passing by. The view is pretty spectacular, as you can see from these terrific cameras. The moon is marching. Latin, the word for sun, the name of our sun is Sol, and that's why we think of solar panels. You know, the word Sol again is Latin for sun. Is Luna, so that's why you think of things that are like lunar, the lunar surface, lunar explorers, you know, lunar missions. That's because the moon in Latin is Luna, and the Earth is Terra. So you have a dance going on right now between Terra, Luna, and Sol, where Sol is embracing Luna and soon will be completely obscured by the moon. We were talking earlier about the fact that, you know, people wonder why it is that, you know, we're having this eclipse at all, and the answer is simple, and that is that the moon orbits the Earth once about every 29 and a half days. One full set of phases is, we call it a month, but the origin, of course, is it's a month, one time that the moon passes around the Earth. And so as the moon orbits the Earth, you'd say, hey, well, why don't we get a solar eclipse once every month? That makes sense. Well, the reason is that the moon's orbit around the Earth is inclined to the Earth's path around the sun by about 5 degrees. Because of that 5 degrees, it's not much. The sun just passes either above or below the sun, and so we don't get the eclipse. And so we're very, very lucky to have, on this day, at this time, the alignment of the moon with the sun. So that if you're standing here, we're going to get to watch the sun completely obscured by the moon. You know, people have been puzzling over this for a long, long time. For thousands of years, humans have looked up and seen eclipses and seen them sometimes with fear, sometimes with awe, sometimes with joy. People used to make up stories about, oh my gosh, you know, the sun is being eaten. What's the matter? We must have done something wrong. The Greek astronomer Hipparchus actually used a solar eclipse in early science to measure the Earth-Moon distance. If you could imagine, this is a long time ago, 130 BC. The Greeks were looking up and actually working out the distance between the Earth and the Sun. And they actually did it. Scientists have wondered about this since the invention of science, since the idea of the scientific method. Kepler and then Halley refined that understanding in the 17th and 18th century. People have been looking at these patterns for a long time. Stonehenge was built between 2800 BC. Stones placed in the ground of the Salisbury Plain west of London, and ancient people using them to look at the alignment of the sun and the moon and the passage of the seasons to predict what would happen. When would we get the next eclipse? Because the ability to project, the ability to predict accurately when an eclipse would take place, power. It gave a king the ability to seem to be prescient, to have the ability to control the events in the sky. There's an apocryphal story about Christopher Columbus on his fourth voyage, where they were having trouble with their ships. They had to run them ashore in Jamaica. And in negotiating with the local natives, he threatened them and said, hey, if you supply food to our crew, that we're gonna make a total lunar eclipse. And actually, I think there might be some truth to that. Things that talked about the fact that the moon's orbit around the Earth is inclined about 5 degrees to the Earth's orbit around the sun. That orbit around the sun is called the ecliptic. You look up at night, you know, and you're looking for the planets. You'll see the planets following along on that ecliptic plane. The ecliptic, yeah, it's funny, isn't it, to think of the name ecliptic. It sounds like an eclipse. Hey. But the fact that we don't have an eclipse every month is caused by the 5-degree tilt. The 5-degree tilt of the moon's orbit with the Earth's orbit around the sun. Otherwise, we would, in fact, have a lunar eclipse every time we had a full moon, and we'd have a solar eclipse every time there's a new moon. Have that happen today. As I mentioned, we are here at the Blue Hills Ranch at McGregor, Texas. A terrific place. Hey, Mark, and we've got a couple of folks that are here. Would you mind talking to me for just a second?
Sure.
Okay, we have Casey and we have Mark here at the Blue Hills Ranch. Thank you guys for taking good care of us. Casey, can you tell us about the working here, the animals that you have? How many do you have?
We have close to around 180 animals.
And from A to zebra, right?
Zebra, giraffe, otters, kangaroos, some big Saint Bernards, some axis deer, some fallow deer, a couple of camels.
Yeah, camels are staring at us, and the giraffes are looking at us.
There, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And donkeys.
Plenty of donkeys, plenty of miniature pigs.
Camels.
This is Mark that's telling us. Mark, how long have you been hanging out here?
Since 2019.
And
Since
We
the
come,
beginning.
my daughter and I come out here. We try to come out 1 week a month, not in the hot months, but I've been here now times in the last 4 weeks, so it's getting a little crazy.
It's good. And I'll
But
tell
yeah,
you what,
we're good friends with Matt.
appreciate your work, because this is a labor of love. There's a lot of work that's required to take care of this place, to take care of the animals, to take care of the facilities. Matt is the owner,
Yes.
and he has made many sacrifices, obviously, to keep this alive. This is pretty darn big. It is, what, 120 acres here in the main facility?
150.
150, and the other place where you could do horse riding, that's 240?
220.
220. So there's a lot of acreage to take care of. That looks real, a pretty amazing experience to be on a platform of a giraffe sticking its head in to join us.
I travel with you, yeah.
About gentleness, they are the gentlest animal. You can put your head right up next to them with no problem, and we do it all the time.
So, yeah, you were feeding them graham crackers out of your mouth yesterday.
Oh, indeed. They have the longest tongue. It's the darndest feeling to get a kiss from a giraffe. I'll tell you what. Don't tell my wife. Let's see, where is she? Yeah, don't mention anything about that. But yeah, it's an amazing experience to see them up close, and they are willing to let you touch foreheads, but they don't like you to touch around their eyes or their
Not around
necks.
the eyes, ears, or neck, correct, yes.
So
Those are sensitive areas on all animals, especially them, so
and it's true for humans too, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're enjoying this incredible experience, and we have binoculars set up over here. You've got a projection binocular system. You can look through a cardboard box with a pinhole camera, and these cameras are projecting over here. Have you seen the screen? Take a look at this. We're very, very lucky to be here today at the Blue Hills Ranch. You're getting this view right now live from McGregor, Texas. We're just southwest of Waco, about 2 hours south of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. The moon is slowly taking a chunk out of the disk of the moon, or of the sun. If you look very carefully, you can actually see a couple of sunspots on the disk of the sun. The sun lives in a 11-year cycle of activity. There is a period of high activity where you see a lot more sunspots, you see prominences, you see coronal mass ejections. And we are very near the solar max right now. So in between these clouds, there are clouds that are coming and going. If in between them, you'll see sunspots right in the center of the disk. It takes a month for the moon to actually make one rotation on its axis. It looks like, whoop, we lost it. Now it's coming back. Just a beautiful view. And by the way, it is important for us to remind everyone, if you are anywhere that you're looking at the sun, please be careful. The sun can really hurt your eyes. So the best way to look at the sun is with a pair of approved eclipse glasses. If you're a welder, or if you have access to them, number 14 welding arc welding glasses are generally accepted as safe. Again, only that type. It's the darkest of all the arc welding glasses. You can project the image of the sun using a pinhole camera. In other words, take a piece of paper, punch a hole in it, and then hold it up to some place where the shadow of the plate creates a nice dark spot, and you'll see the sun's image as the eclipse progresses. Right now, we're in a partial stage of the eclipse, so many people across the United States are getting this view of a partial eclipse. Some places are only ever going to see it partial. If you're lucky enough to be near the center line, you'll see totality. Actually, we have a colander here. A colander is a wonderful tool to create. It's, of course, a colander is full of holes, and we just lost it because of the clouds. But when the sun is out, you'll see tiny little crescents being projected from the holes in the colander. For everybody that's outside of the line of totality, the best that you're ever going to see is the sun showing, a little crescent. But if you're lucky enough to be here when totality occurs, that's what you'll get to see. The darkness of the moon's disk prominences and the corona radiating away from the sun. Many people think the sun is just a tiny little thing, right? It's about the size of the tip of your little finger. But the sun is actually much larger than that because the corona radiates off into space. The corona is 2 million degrees Fahrenheit. The surface of sun is only 10,000, and I'd say only 10,000 degrees, but the corona is much, much hotter. We're learning more about this every day because there is a NASA probe that is going through the corona. It's called the Parker Solar Probe. That's something very, very interesting. We'll be learning much more about the sun as that takes place. They are indeed. The NASA has going on all across rockets from Wallops Island. They have an aircraft that's airborne with a gyro stabilized. In the first partial phase of the solar eclipse, we'll know that we're getting to the total eclipse when we get what they call second contact. Second contact is when the moon completely covers the surface of the sun. That will happen Central Time at 1:38 here at McGregor. Now remember, as you are in different places along the line of this eclipse, those times will be the exact times for your location online very easily. Just go on and Google it. You'll find the times for your location. There's several apps. There's several different websites that are providing that information. Here at the Blue Hills Ranch, we've got a spectacular view over the rolling hills that are covered with bluebonnet flowers. The bluebonnets are in bloom right now, and the hills are exquisite. And we're getting this incredible view of animals running around the hills. We had in fact, I'm looking at a giraffe. A camel was just sitting here staring at me. Across there's a bison, and the bison is very curious about what are these people doing. But we're very curious about what they think as well. There are a number of different experiments or studies that are taking place during this eclipse where professors, people in zoos are actually going to be monitoring animal behavior to see how the animals respond to totality. It's a very, very interesting thing. Anecdotally, I've been lucky enough to see 3 other total solar eclipses. I've seen a couple of annular eclipses. We've seen the Venus pass in front of the sun. That's called a passage of Venus. I've seen a couple of those. Again, that's a very rare thing to get to see. Each of the eclipses is different. Every type of eclipse is a little bit different. And we've seen animals get very excited. We've seen periods of totality where crickets start chirping, thinking that it's the end of the day. But birds seem to fly back to their nests, thinking that it's time for them to go back to roost. And we're going to be looking for that today. Scientists are very interested to know about that sort of animal behavior. That's why we're very, very lucky to be here at the Blue Hills Ranch. So many different kinds of animals doing so many different things. People work very hard to take care of the animals this place, and you are able to visit yourself if you want to look.
At this point, you know, like I said, kind of gone on.
We had a great chance yesterday to wander around the ranch. Got to ride horses. They have some really nice trail rides available if you want to go out to explore the wilderness area. It's just such a fun place to hang out, and we're very, very lucky to be here today for the eclipse. I'd like to remind you, if you want to see more from C&J Images, they have some fantastic launch images, launch video at www.cnjimages.com. Go ahead and check us out. Something that I mentioned earlier, if you were with us listening, is that for thousands of years, people have wondered about the pattern of eclipses, the cycles of eclipses. In fact, the Greeks kind of figured this out, that there is a pattern. And in fact, they found a way to predict the exact timing. Approximate, today it's exact. And those cycles are called a Saros. Is part of a Saros cycle. And those Saros cycles 9 years, 11 days, and a few minutes, actually. And that cycle, once you know it, once you understand the cycle, means that the next time that this particular alignment of the sun and the moon takes place in the way that it is, you can know where to be to see that. So you predict not only when it's going to happen, but you can predict where to be to watch the eclipse. And again, an 18-year, 11-day cycle is a Saros. And similar duration, physical length, the shape of the path, etc. And currently there are about 40 different Saros cycles that allow us to predict when and where to be to watch an eclipse. We're very, very lucky to be here today in Central Texas. Again, we're just southwest of Waco, just about 2 hours south of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and we are watching a mixed bag of blue sky and clouds. And if we're lucky, we're going to get blue sky during totality.
What do you think it is?
Just before totality, we'll get to see some interesting phenomena. A couple minutes before we get to totality, we'll start to experience a phenomenon called shadow bands. Now, shadow bands are the result of having essentially the sun turned into a point source of light. And that light has a certain characteristic that tends to reveal the turbulence in the Earth's atmosphere. That turbulence creates bands of dark and light that travel across any flat surface. We have a large white sheet spread out across the ground here that will be revealing the shadow bands, hopefully. The character of the light changes. Colors actually will seem to change in that period just before totality and just after totality. Now, during totality, it's a very special opportunity because you can take your solar glasses off and look at the sky with your naked eyes safely, but only during that period. In this case, the total eclipse will begin at 1:38 even here in McGregor, and it will end at 1:42 and 12 seconds. Hopefully during that period we won't have any clouds, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see the beautiful corona. The corona, in my opinion, is the highlight of any total solar eclipse. To realize that our sun is so much more than just the disk that we see on a daily basis.
Val, do you have your thing?
I don't know if someone's glasses are right here. I don't know if they're yours.
I don't know how to keep it stuck on.
We have tape.
Stand. Oh, wow.
People are all sharing their eclipse glasses here.
Doesn't matter. You're not staring.
Feel the excitement in the air as more and more of the sun is disappearing. The view that you're getting is nice and clear, and if you look very closely, you see little black spots. Those are sunspots. The sunspots are areas where the surface of the sun is disturbed by the sun's magnetic field. We're very, very lucky to have the technology to allow us to track the sun, to track the moon as it comes in to cover the sun. As I mentioned earlier, in Latin, the moon is called Luna, the sun is called Sol. Our sun has a name, and it's called Sol. So Luna is coming in to hug Sol. She's going to be blocking him out completely.
Yeah, now there's something,
Again, it's an interesting thing to remember that the sun is much, much larger. The sun's about 865,000 miles around, very, very large object. The moon, not so big, 2,160 miles across the moon. But the sun is 93 million miles away. The sun, or the moon is only 240,000 miles away. That's 400 to 1. The ratio 400 to 1 is unique in the solar system. We're very, very lucky to be able to have these total eclipses. It's a very rare thing here. Again, we only typically get about 2 eclipses per year. Sometimes it's a solar eclipse, annular eclipse, sometimes it's just a partial eclipse. Sometimes those eclipses are out over the ocean and you'd have to be on a ship to see them. Sometimes eclipses pass over the polar regions, and if you're in Antarctica, that's cool. You get to go to Antarctica to see an eclipse. But we're really, really lucky to have the path of this total eclipse coming right across some of the largest population centers in the United States. Coming up from the Mexican coast, across central Texas, across Dallas, over Indianapolis, Cleveland, over Boston, the finally the North Atlantic Ocean. So this is something, they believe that this may be the most witnessed solar eclipse of all time. So those of us that are lucky enough to be able to see this is a genuine gift. Even if we only get to see a portion of it because of the clouds, it is a spectacular opportunity. Very, very glad that you're here with us. This is an opportunity to see one of nature's spectacles. And we're surrounded by beautiful animals. We're having such fun. I had a camel over here. There's a little donkey rubbing up against the camel. A whole herd of donkeys. I see a giraffe that's talking. It looks like he's talking to the people on the other side of the fence. Looking out over the hills, the Blue Hills here at the Blue Hills Ranch, because of the. You know what? We're going to do that. We're going to do that fairly quickly. We're going to give you a chance to look around the Blue Hills. So let's have a quick look around. This should be a view of the valley with the blue flowers.
Try a different camera.
We're looking for a giraffe, and I'm not seeing him.
Yeah, you should be.
We're back up looking at the sun. You can see how much progress we've made as the moon is eating into the sun's disk. A little bit closer view where you can see the sunspot. The limb of the moon, the edge of the moon is going to be covering up that sunspot fairly soon. You know, I'm not getting at least I can't see on the screen here, the images of the valley, the giraffe, water tank, or buffalo. Is it because I just can't see it in the sun?
You're gonna have to go
Well, what's wrong with them?
He's not seeing them over there.
Oh, you got a nice view right now looking at the camera and the giraffe checking each other out. This is pretty darn cool. This is one of the great joys of being here at the Blue Hills Ranch. Look at that. That is just beautiful. The animals are just enjoying themselves. They don't seem to be too perturbed by the fact that there's a lot of people here looking at the sky. I'm not sure if they even give two hoots about what's happening in the sky over their heads. But we're actually very curious to know. Look right over here and you can see the giraffe and the camel are having fun with each other. Right there, look, to your left. Look left.
I know, I videoed them. I love them. Normal. Normal, they fight.
Oh, these guys look like they're having fun. It's pretty darn cool. Let's go back and take a look and see what's happening with the sun. Let's see if we can get that. Here's our nice close-up view.
Look at it now.
Excellent. There we get, you can see the sunspot in the center of the sun's disk. It's going to be covered soon by the limb of the moon. It's marching right across the disk. It's interesting to imagine that as we look at that image, that there is the photosphere that we're looking at. The visible part of the sun is called the photosphere. But there's actually a red, the chemisphere that is right around the edge, the limb of the sun. We cannot see that at all. But we will get a really interesting, if we can see if we actually do get to see totality here, we'll get to see that flash at us. It'll be a red flash right around the limb of the moon as it's just covering up the sun. They're starting to play with us. There's a cloud that just moved out of the way. This is a nice close-up view. So if you are watching us and you look away and you look back and the screen is black, well, that's just because a cloud has come in. We're watching these clouds come and the clouds are going. Literally blue sky between the clouds. Something that I've seen personally in my previous experiences with eclipses is that as more of the sun is, the heating from the sun is reduced. It will get cooler during totality. We may see a 10-degree temperature drop. And now what that does is it actually causes the clouds to dissipate a little bit anyway. And we're hoping for that today so that we can see more of this incredible phenomenon taking place over our head.
Yeah, they got it on the camel.
Go back and take a look at that camel and giraffe playing. That is so cute. Guys, which giraffe is that?
That one's Google.
Google, because he's googly eyes. They have two giraffes here. There's Google and there's Blue. One is 3 years old, one is 4 years old. Obviously, these animals live a good life. They're very well cared for here. Look at that. Oh, what are you doing? This view from the water tank is showing that's a pony. I think that's a painted pony. He's back there behind the tank. Again, they have herds of animals here that get to roam around life. They enjoy nibbling on grasses. They get to enjoy themselves by playing and romping over the hills. And seriously, as I said, this place is called Blue Hills for a very good reason. The bluebonnet flower cover makes the place really look blue. It's pretty darn neat. It's a phenomenon of the spring when the rain has been adequate and the sun is good. Taking a look through some of the different views that we have available, and
Looking at all of this, hopefully they'll be able to share something.
to look at the overhead. Well, this is Phil Stasek with you once again, your host for Eclipse, April 8th of 2024. We're at the Blue Hills Ranch at McGregor, Texas, just southwest of Waco, south of the Fort Worth Metro. Enjoying not only the view of the sun, the view of all the neat animals here. This is an amazing place with a variety of animals. If you're looking at this black spot right in the center of the sun's disk, that is a sunspot, just obscured by a cloud. But at the toward it, it's going to obscure that sunspot. Something that any. Okay. We're now looking at the Google and a camel, and they're just playing. These guys have been enjoying each other's company here. I don't really seem to be kind of checking each other out. If this is fighting, say that those animals. Well, Matt, you're our host today here, and we really, really appreciate your giving us the chance to be here. Thank you. How do you like the Eclipse experience? This is very unique.
It's different, I guess. Say.
Is the thing that'll really your mind about eclipses.
All right.
Once, if we're lucky enough and we get one of that's only 10,000 a day. This is
sharing.
Beautiful facility. It's a labor of love. The really, really Blue Hills here. This is not just a name. Every spring.
Not every. This is probably the best spring. I'll be honest. This is more than I. So we need a lot of rain before. Yep, we're blowing at 5.
This is a staple, huh?
Yep.
How many animals do you have?
100.
Zebra. You got everything here. It's you have the scimitar oryx animals, interesting animals. And if you come here, you can actually take a safari to see you can ride horses that property, kind of experience through the wilderness. That the opportunity to come here and see firsthand, really a joy, and of course to top off, we get to see Totality. Thank you.
Hopefully it happens.
About a 2-hour drive south of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and doggone it, we're really close to the center line. We're going to get, if we're lucky, a view of Totality. Looking back at the view of the sun, it appears that we've just covered up the sunspots right in the center of the sun's disk. We do have a number of cameras, kind of giraffe. As he said, little boy. Here's a slightly different view of a different sized lens, a sharp, crisp image of the moon covering up the sun's disk.